Hey everybody, we're out here on the lanes now. I've had some time to practice with the balls we're going to be trying out today. Got my IQ Tour Hyped Solid and of course the Sunstorm for today. Got lined up around 11-12 area. These are the new synthetic lanes here at SPEC. You might hear some construction being done in the background, so they're still being put in. Let's go ahead and hit the lanes and see what we find out. We'll talk about it later. Alrighty, out here on the lanes. Gonna kind of keep my feet around 11 here. Didn't throw too many shots, just enough to get lined in. So should be still pretty fresh here on the new lanes here at SPEC. All right, nice little trip 9 there. This ball really responds well to friction, doesn't really overdo it. Kind of blends the lane really well. As long as you're far enough right and you kind of keep it in, angles end up being pretty good. All right, much better there, going through the pins. Kind of trusted a little bit. Same idea here. Might even move a board left. And these are fresh synthetics here. All right, so that ring 10. I think that's because the ball, like I said, doesn't really respond to oil. Doesn't respond to the dry part of the lane too heavily. So just hit that dry spot and just kind of kept going. So you really don't want to get this ball wide. All right, so those 4 shots went pretty well. As we expected, kind of a nice smoother reaction. Probably going to be better on your harder patterns. Maybe not something you want to use on a house shot. Maybe a lower ball speed bowler might be able to get through it. We're going to be comparing it to 2 other balls that I think are pretty smooth. IQ Tour, it's got that same core in it. Same exact layout, 4.5, 4.5 by 2.5. Let's go check out and see what we find out. And so after the little time I had to practice, we're going into the IQ now. Same layout as the Sunstorm. It's about a 5 board difference to me. So moving into about 16, 17 here. Let's see what we get. All right, that first shot was about right. Kind of get it out, tried to get it out to the same spot. I'm gonna keep this one in a little more. Ball deals with oil a little bit better, so I can kind of afford to keep it in. All right, we're having some pretty good pin action here. It was a little high, so I'm gonna move like 2 left here. So kind of into like the 17, 18 area. About 6 or 7 left of where I was with the Sunstorm. Kept it in. All right, so I got a good Tripstone 9 rack going on here. Maybe I'm just getting the ball to go through the pins a little sideways. Whenever that happens, just kind of see what you can do to stay behind it a little more, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have to face up a little bit, or might flat 10. All right, so 4 shots with the IQ Tour compared to the Sunstorm. We obviously see a much different down lane reaction. Balls are laid out the same. Never touched the surface on this IQ Tour, just got a nice little lane shine to it. Ball dealt with oil a little bit better as we move further left, so obviously Sunstorm, like I said before, something you're going to want to square up with. We're going to move into the Hyped Solid, which I think is going to have the same issue as the Sunstorm, where you don't really want it to hit that oil too much. You kind of want to play a little bit straighter, left off of your hand, or if it's going to be right, into the dry. Let's go check it out and see what we find out. Alrighty, so all the cool messengers are done with. Going down to a hype now, Hyped Solid. Those of you that watched my Hyped Solid and Supernova video, you know I really love how smooth this ball is. A lot of guys out on tour, from what I understand, really enjoy the smoothness of this. So let's see what we got. right, so a lot of people really love how this ball kind of doesn't respond to the dry part of the lane too badly, especially as a solid ball. So I'm going to kind of try to square up here, get the ball facing the pins. All right, so I'm a big fan with bowling balls that don't kind of flare too much. You don't really want the ball going right off your hand now. That first one was just to kind of show overall hook potential compared to the tour. I'm sure if I got it in the oil, that probably wouldn't move too much. So what we're gonna do here is just same thing, just kind of try and get it left off my hand. All right, so that flat 10 was kind of exactly what I'm talking about. You're just gonna get something nice and smooth. I didn't get it left off my hand, so it labored a little bit. Kind of bellied it out there to the drier part of the lane. The ball just kind of, I don't want to say it puked or anything, because it's not, it's like a negative term. It was just smooth. Much better. All right, so Hyped Solid, pretty much exactly what we thought. It's very similar to the Sunstorm. Now this is pin down versus pin up, so the ball's gonna read a little bit earlier, blend it a little bit better. Same idea. Kind of want to be a little bit further right if possible. Get it into that oil off of your hand left. Your carry is going to be a lot better than trying to kind of belly it left to right. So nice and clean, nice and smooth, not too sensitive off the dry. Okay, very similar to Sunstorm. If it's not available, Hyped Solid might be a nice replacement for you. Let's go finally do our little recap here at the end and see what we found out altogether. Alrighty, so all packed up. Had some time to think about what happened out there and assess what we saw. So started with the Sunstorm. Again, if you're watching this video expecting to see something in the fourth arrow, probably looking in the wrong place. It's definitely going to be something that you're going to want that's, going to help you even out the lanes and probably some of the drier patterns. Going to be able to keep your feet to the, right as much as you possibly can. Ball's not going to overreact when it hits the dry, as you saw. It kind of hit it. It was nice and smooth off of it. The shots that were in kind of held line. Now, again, we were on a fresh house shot, so ratio is usually pretty high there, so most things usually hold. But as you can see, it kind of still held that hitting power, which is something you really like to see when a ball hits the oil, especially going left off your hand. As we moved into the IQ, again, I'll just reiterate, it does have the IQ Tour in that Sunstorm, but that SPEC cover is a totally different animal. And what we saw with that IQ was a lot more down lane reaction, again, with the same layout. So using the Storm system, it's 4.5 inch from my axis to my pin. It's 4.5 inches from, even though it's symmetrical, the PSA to my positive axis point, and I gave it a 2.5 inch pin buffer. I really like that layout for me, especially to get balls down lane and save up a little bit more energy on the cliff stuff. My IQ, I've been using it on cliff lanes a lot more lately, and it's really stepped my scores up. Last thing, of course, I want to speak about was that Hyped Solid. It's going to give me an overall reaction that's similar to the Sunstorm. The reason I wanted to bring that out was because, I do hear a lot of people say, well, the Sunstorm's not available. It's very expensive in some shops. So maybe is there something that we can get that's comparable? And I think that pin down Hyped Solid gave me a very comparable reaction. Hitting power, left off my hand, kind of, same idea, playing the same part of the lane. I feel like I would use those balls in similar circumstances, where the Hyped Solid I just might keep a little more surface on, and I feel like I would have a little bit more room to keep that Sunstorm, lane shine. All in all, it's kind of exactly what we expected. I'm excited to use it on some patterns where I'm going to have to be a little bit further right. Just bowled a tournament on Wolf about a week or two ago. Probably could have used it game 3 when we had some carry down, and I needed something to hold a little bit when I hit that dry spot left. But, oh well, we'll see what happens maybe in the future. I'll try it on some shorter patterns. Stay tuned to the channel. Might have some new things coming up for you. Might test out a few balls, show you guys what I bring into league every week. I have, I got quite a few bowling balls in my trunk. I got tournament bags and I got league bags. So maybe we'll dive into what I bring into league and what I bring into tournaments, and maybe I can help you guys figure out what you need in your bag. Anyway, keep bowling up a storm, everybody. Thanks.